Now on Nightside, a fire just south of Spokane has forced families from their homes tonight, and there's still no end in sight for fire crews. We have the very latest details.
Cool and calm. Weather conditions are working in the firefighters' favor for now, but not for long. I'll tell you about a hot Tuesday in the first alert forecast.
Plus, a bomb was found in the Spokane River by a concerned citizen this afternoon. How the bomb squad was able to retrieve it. You're watching 4 News Now, Nightside.
Well, here's a look at that wildfire that's been burning southwest of Spokane since about 1:40 this afternoon. You can see the flames just crawling up the trees there. That fire estimated to be around 120 acres at this hour. And it is 0% contained, but according to the Department of Natural Resources, who we spoke with less than an hour ago, crews have been able to bulldoze a line around 90% of this fire. And we know at least 14 aircraft, like the ones you see on your screen, and also helicopters dropping water on this fire, were called to the area to help contain the flames. As of now, no structures have been lost, but DNR says at one point around 20 structures were in danger. Thanks for joining us for Nightside. I'm Kirsten O'Connor.
And I'm Jordan Smith in here for Aaron Luna tonight. That fire is burning west of Highway 195, just south of Latah Valley. Cheney Spokane Road is currently closed, and people living in the immediate area are being told to get out now. People like Susan, who did not want to give us her last name.
I was thinking, oh, what do I do? What should I get? What should I take? And I thought, no, don't try to take anything. Nothing is important except for you and your family. So that I was kind of nervous, like, oh, I want to run around. We have chickens, and we have about 18 chickens, and we didn't even get up to the coop to let the chickens go.
And here's a look at the evacuation zones on your screen there. Everyone living south 47th and east of Dorset are being told to leave immediately. Level 2 evacuations are in place south of Hallett Road in between Assembly and Dorset Road.
I grabbed my husband and my dogs and my purse, and we left just that quick. Didn't have time to do anything else. Didn't have time to grab anything else. But, you know, we're safe and our pets are safe, and everything else can get replaced if it needs to be.
Our Allison Martinez was on the scene near Spokane, Cheney, and Marshall Road, covering this fire all evening. Here's what firefighters are watching out for overnight. Allison?
We're tracking the West Hallett fire here tonight. Now, DNR tells me that fire progression has stopped. Now, this is very apparent from the winds that have slowed down, the smoke that has died down behind me as well, and any flames that were once visible anytime this evening are now gone. Now, Stevens, Whitman County, Kootenai County, and Spokane County fire departments have all been here, all hands on deck, all afternoon into the evening. They'll be working through the night and into the early morning as well.
We will have night shift out here, checking the lines, making sure there are no flare-ups, and checking on those homes really near the fire line, making sure everything stays where it's at.
We'll continue to monitor these fire conditions into the evening. You can also tune in tomorrow to Good Morning Northwest starting at 5 a.m. to get all updates on this fire. Reporting in Spokane, Allison Martinez, 4 News Now.
And we're not the only ones dealing with a wildfire tonight. The Eagle Bluff fire has been burning since Saturday afternoon, right close to Oroville, Washington, about 3 hours northwest of Spokane, near the Canadian border. The fire reached the fence of the Spokane Sector Border Patrol. Firefighters there are working to protect structures, control flare-ups, and extinguish burning power poles.
Well, let's check in with our winds right now, and things are really working in firefighters' favor tonight. Winds generally light around the region and will remain light overnight, and tomorrow it will not be as windy. We'll see the winds pick up a little bit in the afternoon, but only in the 5 to 10 mile per hour range. Our temperatures right now are in the 50s, 60s, 71 in downtown Spokane, one of the exceptions. Spirit Lake has had difficulty with their 11 o'clock temperatures. They're usually a few hours off, but here's a look at the overnight lows that we're expecting tonight. We'll be in the 40s and 50s. These temperatures are actually below average, and And so that is a big help with the relative humidity values that will help firefighters and give them also a break from the heat, because tomorrow is going to be another story. Here's a look at those relative humidity values right now. Now, during the hottest part of the day today, they were in the low teens in many locations, but we could find ourselves back in those low teens and even single digits tomorrow afternoon as we warm up to a high of 91 degrees, warmer than today. Our average high is 87. I'll be back with your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes. Kirsten.
Thank you, Chris. A new on Nightside now, a bomb found in the Spokane River right near the Greens Ferry boat launch. Kootenai County Sheriff's Office says they got a call this afternoon from a concerned citizen, and they sent out the sonar team who safely retrieved that bomb with a sonar ORV robot and brought it to shore, where they were able to get rid of it safely. Investigators say if you have any information about this, contact the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office.
Spokane police have arrested a suspect in connection to the shooting death of a 26-year-old Darnell Pluff in Franklin Park earlier this month. Police arrested 42-year-old Jose M. Matthews for second-degree murder. Pluff was shot in the head and neck and pronounced dead at the scene. This investigation is ongoing. A former middle school teacher convicted of sexual assault is back in jail tonight. Darren Hunter is now being accused of rape and assault. He was arrested in Chelan Sunday morning for the charges. Detectives say they believe Hunter may have committed more sexual assaults that had not yet been reported. Hunter is originally from Kent, Washington, where he taught at a middle school. He pleaded guilty last September to a 2021 charge of raping a woman. Chelan County deputies say he was not teaching when he recently moved to Chelan. People convicted of simple drug possession in the state of Washington in the last 5 decades are now eligible for court cost refunds. 2 years ago, the Washington Supreme Court found that simple drug possession, cannabis possession, and paraphernalia convictions were unconstitutional, known as the State versus Blake decision. It relieves all such convictions from people's records, and they now qualify for financial reimbursement for court-ordered fines or costs that were paid. The state has set aside nearly $100 million to cover costs for those convicted between 1971 and 2021. A link to that reimbursement fund can be found at our website, kxoy.com.
New on Nightside, a teenager who was spray painting a building was hit and killed by the Seattle Center monorail late Sunday night. Brady Wakayama reports.
It's unfortunate that people are doing these things and that something like this had to happen.
People are trying to cope with the death of a young teenage boy. The incident happened Sunday night around 9 o'clock near the intersection of 5th and Denny.
Does it have to get to a death in order for us to consider it more seriously?
Police say surveillance video, which has not been released to the public, showed the teen was spray painting a building next to the tracks just before the monorail struck him. Police say he was on the roof of the building, which houses the law office of Carol Edward. That's where Isabel Falcon has been working for the past 11 years.
Tagging is very frequent. I just never expected somebody to go up on the roof.
She says her workplace gets hit by graffiti nearly every week. The law office tries to remove it at least once a month, which costs more than $1,000 each removal. Falcon believes Sunday's death could have been prevented if the city had stricter laws in place when it comes to addressing these crimes.
I almost feel like we've kind of given them a green light to tag wherever they want because we're not criminalizing it.
The public information officer with the Seattle Center sent King 5 News a statement saying in part, "We want to offer our condolences to the family and friends of the person involved. Safety is our #1 priority. We take this event very seriously and are fully cooperating with the authorities in their investigation of this incident."
Officials said the monorail returned to service this morning. The teen's identity has not been released. An 8-year-old attacked by a cougar while camping on a trip in western Washington. Why National Forest officials say his mother's actions made all the difference. Plus, human bones found by children on the shores of an Idaho lake. Why police say they're not any closer to cracking the case. And how an Oregon woman's iPhone saved her life when she drove off a cliff. That's next on Nightside.
Track live radar on the 4 News Now weather app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Kootenai Heart Clinics.
Wow, what a great vacation.
Yeah, no kidding. The new hotel, the casino, Maslow's Steakhouse.
Don't forget the triple head shower.
Trust me, I haven't. I feel a million miles away.
You're not.
I understand that.
I just ran home and fed the dog.
Don't ruin this for me.
The largest casino resort in the Pacific Northwest is right in your backyard thanks to our brand new River Tower Hotel in Northern Quest.
Pop the champagne, humanity. We've done it.
Celebrate your night with big winners, shocking thrills, and living legends.
No, I've always thought of you as Dave Jr.
Every hair on my body is standing up right now.
Jimmy Kimmel Live, weeknights on ABC.
Why join UFCW 3000? I'm the lead person when we negotiate with employers for better wages, benefits, and working conditions.
I'm an essential worker.
During the pandemic, we couldn't work remotely.
We are workers in grocery stores,
healthcare, retail,
and packing plants.
Thanks, UFCW 3000.
Our website can both answer your questions and connect you with our team who can help you explore your union opportunities.
When occasional heartburn won't let you sleep, get fast relief with new Tums Plus Heartburn Plus Sleep Support. Love food back and fall asleep faster.
Where should I walk? Right here? Is this good?
Yeah, you can walk right there. This is your show. Do whatever you want.
You walk in.
It's live with Kelly and Mark.
Wow, that was a nice reception.
Every weekday morning.
We're sitting on a couch with the new co-host, husband and wife team.
Watch live with Kelly and Mark, weekdays at 9 a.m., only on 4 News Now.
4 News Now is brought to you by Foothills Mazda.
Thanks for staying up with us here on Nightside. A scary moment in Bonner County on Sunday where a plane carrying 3 passengers crashed into Priest Lake. That plane crashed into the shallow end of Kavanaugh Bay. You can see the wreckage of that plane in this video and these photos from Brian Hansen, who was at the scene. Hansen responded to this plane crash with his father, a volunteer firefighter with the East Priest Lake Fire Department. And they tell us before EMTs arrived, dozens of onlookers jumped into action, helping out where they could.
Makeshift stretcher with some lawn chairs down on the water to help the kid. And they were dealing with actually some chemical burns on the kid from the fuels. And so they used Dawn dish soap and then some aloe vera afterwards to clean up. And they said that it instantly felt better after doing that.
And the Hansons tell us that the pilot did end up with a concussion. There were a few facial injuries, but ultimately everyone was amazingly okay, transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Some good news to report there. It's an incident that could have been much, much worse. Well, after 3 years and several delays, Splashdown finally reopened to the public on Saturday. The owner says the last few days had been tricky. The park was planned to open last Tuesday when one of the park's main turbines broke down. Splashdown's owner says the park will be open every day from 11 to 7.
And speaking of water parks, temperatures scorching above the triple digits across the United States as experts say this July is the hottest month in recorded history. States like Arizona have experienced deadly impacts because of these extreme temperatures, prompting millions of Americans to heed excessive heat warnings from California to New York City.
I just feel kind of, nauseated, and then I feel flushed. You can feel it. Your heart rate speeds up.
A climate change service from Europe notes that global temperatures are likely the highest in at least 100,000 years, with the possibility of long-term effects. And here in the inland Northwest, Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker is here to talk about the warm-up forecasted over the next few days. Chris?
We are warming up, and I'm going to have an update on Phoenix you won't want to miss later in the news. But first, it is getting hotter for us the next couple of days. Here are 4 things to know about your weather. With sunny skies, it's going to be another dry week. We do have the possibility of some weekend thunderstorms. I'll show you why in a moment. Air quality is in the moderate moderate range, and it's been staying right about in the moderate range since the fire broke out south of town. We've not gotten into the sensitive range, so that is a bit of good news. Three things we're keeping a close eye on tomorrow: the wind, the heat, and the dry conditions. The wind is going to be less of an issue tomorrow than it was today. However, it is going to be hotter and drier. Now tonight, we cool down nicely. 53 for an overnight low with clear skies and light wind. Tomorrow, a high of 91. Southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. High pressure, big ridge of high pressure dominating the western 2/3 of the country. We are on the very far extreme of that ridge. Tomorrow, southwesterly flows going to bring up the heat, but we might eventually start tapping into some of that monsoonal moisture coming up from the desert southwest, which could provide the fuel for some thunderstorms this weekend. Lows tonight in the 40s and 50s in most locations. Highs tomorrow mostly in the 90s, a couple spots in the 80s, and 102 in Lewiston. Your 7-day forecast, we'll see the clouds increasing as that monsoonal moisture works its way in. Possibly some thunderstorms, mainly over the mountains this weekend. Kind of the last thing that we need to see right now. I'll be back with your 8 to 14-day outlook in just a few minutes, Jordan.
All right, Chris, thanks for that. New on Nightside here tonight, a 15-minute drive from Port Angeles. A family was camping alongside Lake Angeles in the heart of the hills backcountry rather, when an 8-year-old was attacked by a cougar. Thankfully, the child only suffered minor injuries.
The mom responded perfectly and quickly and started yelling and screaming at this cougar. It let the kid go and walked away.
Well, really fortunate that those injuries weren't too bad, but several trails in the area do remain closed as officials search for that cougar. If they find the animal, they will euthanize it. And while the Olympic National Park calls attacks on humans extraordinarily rare, they say if you do encounter a cougar, make sure to back away slowly and do not run. You should also keep children close by, appear large, and if it gets aggressive, shout and throw things at the cougar.
Lori Vallow Daybell, the so-called doomsday mom from Idaho, has been sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murders of her 2 children, 7-year-old Joshua Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, and for conspiring to kill her husband's first wife. Vallow, who was determined to be mentally ill, addressed the court before her sentencing.
I have always mourned the loss of my loved ones.
They were found dead, burned, mutilated, and dismembered, and buried like animals. There's no remorse for what you did. You haven't said you're sorry.
Tylee and JJ were last seen in September of 2019. Prosecutors say Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybell, believed her kids were zombies and killed them. The children's remains were allegedly found on an Idaho property belonging to Chad Daybell after a months-long search. Vallow's legal team blaming Daybell for their deaths. Daybell pleaded not guilty, and he's currently in jail awaiting the start of his own trial next year.
Authorities in Idaho have launched an investigation into human remains found on the shore at Bear Lake. Children playing at the lake last week with small buckets and shovels dug up what turned out to be a human jawbone and teeth. Investigators are working to identify remains found on the shore of Bear Lake.
I've reached out to Sheriff Stacy with the Rich County Sheriff's Office on the Utah side, and they likewise don't have any cases like that. So right now it's kind of a mystery as to who or when or any of that information.
Anthropologists from Idaho State University now joining in on the investigation to further examine those remains that were found on a part of the shore that is often underwater. Anthropologists have excavated the site and found more bones, just small fragments, and it's not yet known if they are human. Researchers will now build a biological profile for the remains, trying to determine the person's ethnicity, sex, and age. And they will also look for dental work to compare to available records. New on Nightside. If you have a newer iPhone, you might be familiar with the SOS tool on your device. It relies on satellite, so it works even when you don't have phone service.
In an emergency, it lets you call a dispatcher or even automatically alerts you or one for you. As So Young Kim reports, a woman in Oregon has her iPhone to thank for saving her life.
Pretty sore. A lot of emotions. A lot of emotions right now.
Ashley describes the scary moment. She says her life flashed before her eyes Friday evening.
I was driving home one night and for some reason I hit the edge of the road and I went straight into a deep part of the hill.
She says her car fell more than 30 feet down an embankment around 10 o'clock off of Timber Road in Vernonia. Ashley says she mainly uses one side of her body due to a prior accident and believes she fell unconscious upon impact.
When I went down, I must have passed out and I hit the ground and the airbags went up.
So how did emergency crews know her location? She says her phone sent an alert for help.
And then iPhone really saved my life because I had an SOS and it just automatically turned on.
Authorities say the alert came in as a, quote, vehicle accident, unknown injury, because the driver's Apple device sensed they may have been in an accident and automatically alerted the Columbia 911 Communications District. This allowed Vernonia Rural Fire Protection District and Metro West Ambulance Hillsborough to respond to the scene.
This was the first time we've experienced a call like that, so this was all new to us.
Once crews located the truck, they say it was at the bottom of a steep embankment, buried in heavy brush.
We activated the rope rescue teams through mutual aid agreements with Banks Fire and Miss Birkenfeld Fire.
Ashley says she's thankful to be alive.
Well, still ahead, Spokane leaders gathered together today to discuss a solution for the fentanyl epidemic, why they say fentanyl is unlike any drug they've seen before. Next on Nightside.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
Send them back to school looking and seeing their best. Get premium eyewear and A+ patient care from the experienced team at Shopko Optical. Cross off eye exams on your back-to-school checklist. Schedule their comprehensive exam today.
Connect with a friend. Connect with a muse. Connect with nature. Connect with summer and find what it holds for you in the off-road ready Mazda CX-50. Uncover what lies ahead during Mazda's Season of Discovery sales event.
Discover nature's most unique adventures in a Mazda CX-50. Available for immediate delivery at Foothills Mazda or shop now at SpokaneMazda.com.
The new double pepperoni Crazy Crust pizza is so nice, we pepperonied it twice. With classic and old world pepperoni, sprinkled with toasted cheeses and garlic parm crust you've got to see in slow-mo. Available for $8.99 only at Little Caesars.
Pizza. As state senator, Lisa Brown increased taxes by $2 billion while raising her own pay. Under her watch, homelessness rose by 25,000. Now she's backed by the defund the police crowd. Lisa's soft on crime, hard on taxpayers.
I pledge to increase police presence and tackle homelessness, and we have. Our Violent Crimes Task Force has lowered crime rates, and we're compassionately addressing homelessness. We're exceptional, Spokane. I'll keep it that way. I'm Nadine Woodward, and I approve this message.
4 News Now anchor team, not just in the newsroom, but in the community. We're doing the work, listening to you, asking questions, and getting the answers you need to help keep your family safe. It's what we mean when we say, expect more on 4 News Now.
What you see is important. That makes quality eye care important too. Get personalized care from experienced optometrists at Shopko Optical. Better eye care. You'll see. Shopko Optical welcomes more insurance plans than ever. Call to book an exam and verify coverage.
4 News Now is brought to you by Rebath Spokane.
Washington Senator Maria Cantwell made a stop in Spokane on Monday to meet with local leaders who are working to combat the fentanyl crisis. First responders, healthcare professionals, treatment centers, and people who have experienced fentanyl addiction firsthand, they all participated in the roundtable discussion. Many of them saying fentanyl nowadays is unlike any drug they have ever seen before, and they need to get it under control before it's too late. More money and more resources like beds in treatment facilities were the main topics of discussion. They also touched on the need for a better way to get qualified healthcare workers licensed to help.
Very unique thing that we heard today is about the actual healthcare workers that are also needed. And is there some way to help streamline the system so that you could get people who are very qualified to help deal with this crisis, but create paths for more of those people to be created immediately?
Senator Cantwell has been making several stops like this across the state, and she said she was impressed in the way that Spokane leaders are willing to work together on a solution. Well, tomorrow is the primary elections. The top two candidates in each race will move on to the general election in November.
And one election we're keeping a close eye on is for Spokane mayor. 4 people, including the former director of Department of Commerce, Lisa Brown, are hoping to defeat incumbent Mayor Nadine Woodward. We are also tracking the race for Spokane City Council president, where no matter who wins, there will be a new city council president taking over for Brianne Beggs, who left office earlier this month for Superior Court judgeship.
Well, they're putting on sweaters in Phoenix today. They broke their streak. Thank goodness. 108 degrees, which is actually only 2 degrees above average. They had 31 consecutive days of 110 degrees or higher, and that shatters the previous record of 18 consecutive days set way back in the 1970s. This is just a dip. They are headed right back up into the 119-degree range tomorrow, but at least they could enjoy one cool day. 86 was our high today, and it probably felt hot to many of you. 87 is our average high. Sunset these days is at 8:26. We are going to be a little above average for the next few days. A dip on Friday, and then we're heading up into the mid-90s. So we've got more warm weather. The extended forecast, 8 to 14 days, a confusing signal. We've got below average temperatures to our east, slightly above for the western portion of the inland northwest, but we'll have to stay tuned. My hunch is we're going to be warmer than average, still looking at above average precipitation. So far, we have not seen any of that. The Climate Prediction Center has been advertising this rain for quite some time, and we are still waiting anxiously. In the meantime, and here is why we are wanting that rain. A great shot taken this evening around 5:50 by Jerry Rawls from High Drive, looking toward the fire tonight, and an air tanker doing that important work. So grateful for all of our firefighters on the ground and in the air. Jordan?
Yeah, certainly, Chris. Thanks for that. When we come back here tonight, the mighty Idaho Vandals opened up training camp this morning as they enter the season with some pretty high expectations. Coming up in sports, Alex Crescenti tells us how the team is feeling after day one.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
Take a day off, skip Mondays, and be water-wise this summer.
No one calls Pan a coward and lives.
Man, have we got work to do if we're gonna get you ready for opening night.
New Wednesday.
Huzzah!
Jack McBrayer guest stars.
You're the drama teacher? I thought you were just a guidance counselor.
It's called acting. And also, we're underfunded.
Did Dean tell you he was in a school play?
Is he playing somebody white?
Never mind. You were the best Peter Pan ever, baby.
Those 2 hours and 23 minutes really flew by.
Can you dig it, baby?
This is your summer to smile, to raise your glass and reconnect, to reel in the fun and savor every bite. To help you get ready, your Aspen Dental team is celebrating 25 years of affordable care with an epic Summer of Smiles event. Don't miss enjoying a moment with our on-site labs to help you fast and 20% off your denture care. So whether you need a new look or a quick fix, you can celebrate with a smile all season, always at Aspen Dental. Book today.
Hey, Donnie, can you give me one reason to call the advocates?
Sorry, Ken, I can't.
I can. I mean, who fights like we do? You can't give me one reason?
Nope.
How about that we take on big insurance bullies? We're not afraid of any case. We're passionate and smart. Really? You can't come up with one reason?
I can't come up with one, Ken.
Because there are 500 million.
All the money we've recovered for our clients. Injured? You deserve justice. You deserve an advocate.
Adventure, culture, and fine wine await you in the Lewis Clark Valley, less than 2 hours south of Spokane. Tour some of the world's most spectacular wilderness, beauty, and wildlife in Hell's Canyon. Experience the region's rich and diverse culture and history. Savor award-winning Lewis Clark Valley wines and delicious culinary creations from a variety of local wineries and fine dining establishments. Go to visitlewisclarkvalley.com and plan your destination getaway today.
Day one of fall camp means a fresh start for many college football programs around the country. But for the Idaho Vandals, they're just looking to build on a momentum in season from 2022 that saw them make the FCS playoffs for the first time since 1995. Now, this was just the first practice, so the intensity isn't going to be what it is when the full pads come on. But head coach Jason Eck told us today he liked the focus from the team this morning as he starts year 2 in Moscow. And there are a lot less questions to answer this camp than last year, mainly on the offensive side of the ball, where Giovanni McCoy is going to be the man behind center. He's coming off an incredible freshman year. I saw him throw for more than 2,700 yards and account for 30 touchdowns. Of course, his job is going to be made a lot easier. He throws to a couple of 1,000-yard receivers, Jermaine Jackson and Hayden Hatton, and they've been working on developing that chemistry in the offseason.
It was a fantastic first start. You know, a big advantage for us going into this year is we actually have an entire season with this coaching staff under our belt. Last year, it was very fresh, very new. We were all still learning the offense.
Words can't even describe that, honestly. It's just off the charts. I love those guys, and we just have great chemistry on the field and off the field as well.
We're also keeping a close eye. You know, we did a lot of stuff. We were a split group today with older guys and younger guys. We're looking to do a great job evaluating our new guys and see who can help us. Out of our 110 guys we have in camp, 52 of them were not here last fall, so it's a pretty large number. So we had to do a great job of evaluating those guys and see who can help us.
Now, the expectations for this team will be high. Last week at Big Sky Media Days, the Vandals were picked to finish second in the conference in the media poll. And Idaho will get their season underway in exactly 1 month as they're going to travel out to Texas to take on Lamar. And just across the border, the Washington State Cougars have a quarterback that's going to be making an award watch list. That is Cameron Ward. He was named to the Maxwell Award watch list that is annually given to the College Player of the Year. And last season, Ward threw for more than 3,200 yards, 23 touchdowns, as he was named All Pac-12 honorable mention, helping lead Wazoo to a 7-5 season that culminated in the LA Bowl. And Ward and the Cougs will open up their training camp on Wednesday morning, and we're going to be there, so make sure to follow along on social media and watch KXLY for all your Cougar, Vandal, and Eagles coverage this season. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.